What's your opinion about the PhD by publication? Let's say some universities in
Yeah,
Europe and some
of our departments, some of our departments at our university does. Rather than having a dissertation, you write 3 papers. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, not exactly. Maybe
Okay.
it goes like to 5, 6 papers, a conference one.
Yeah.
And you should, combine it in a coherent,
Yeah.
form.
That's the same thing. What we look at is that you write a conceptual paper, okay, that's theoretically driven, and that's one paper. And again, the reason those are hard is that they're hard to get published because there's no numbers in them. I know schools that say you have to write 3 papers and publish the 3 papers. Now you're talking about stretching that along. Some don't. The second paper is a quantitative paper. I'm going to take what I've done here and quantify, collect the data, and do the analysis. The third paper is an application paper for managers. Yes, we're using those. It's going to be available to her at our university this year. I think it's an intriguing way to look at it because a 300-page dissertation, if you're really lucky, you'll get 1 article out. If you write 3 good articles that we're going to really work with you to get them good, you're going to publish 3 articles. So I think it has a lot of merit. I kind of like them where they're tied together. Our finance group, they don't have to be tied together, just 3 independent papers. They don't have to be conceptual, quantitative, and applied. They can be anything, just 3 good, solid papers. That argument is convincing to me.
So that's when the PhD student should be like very strategic when he's going to write, let's say, when is he planning for?
Yeah, strategic,
publication?
what I would say, and I teach a seminar to the PhD students, kind of like this, on Friday afternoon. I say to them, never write a paper for a class, write a paper that fulfills the class requirements that you can get published. You can't afford to come out of a program today and not have publications. I use Miriam a lot and beat her up. Miriam has published 14 articles, and she's been in our program 2 years. That's good. You're going to be competing against her for a job, and you have 0. And she's a hell of a lot cuter than you are, too. So I'm going to go with the 14 cute and 0 not so cute at all. See what I'm saying? So the 3 papers would get you in that motion. We try not to turn out anybody in our program at my university, in the management department, with less than 3 or 4 articles already published. And what we found is the quality of the schools they're going to is it's jumping up dramatically. My PhD student that I argue with all the time, or used to argue with all the time, when he graduated, we had published 30 articles. He was there 2 years. He was a genius. He still is, but he's a pain in the butt. So that's why I think the 3 makes sense. It starts launching this career rather than writing a 300-page that you're going to get maybe 1 out of. Because it's so hard to condense down 300 pages down to 1 article. The other thing that you need to know is you will hate that thing by the time you're finished. You will hate your dissertation. It's harder to hate these 3 because they're 3 independently different things that might be tied together. What else? Yep. Oh, geez.
Oh, okay. I just want to ask you a quick question.
I just thought you were raising your hand just for the hell of it.
Just going back to what you were mentioning about your relationship with Miriam, in terms of having a good working relationship. I think if we can just address this idea of a good working relationship with a supervisor.
Right.
I think many of us coming from an international background, sometimes we face issues in terms
Sure.
of gender issues, cultural issues.
Sure.
So if you can give us some advice in terms of what is a good student supposed to be?
Yeah.
What is a good supervisor supposed to be?
Yeah, and I've got all those slides further in the mentoring.
Yep.
But Natasha's working on an area that we give her a little credit on called the liability of foreignness. And what we're looking at is how different can you be from me and from the organization culture and still work out? Okay, obviously we're interested in bringing in patriots in, but if they're so culturally distant, they'll never work. We won't accept you. You have the wrong religion. You're driving on the wrong side of the road. Whatever we come up with, those won't work. So one of the things I would look at is what you need to do is get somebody that you feel that you are confident in. Duncan would be an example. The guy knows his stuff.
Yes.
I mean, you have no doubt about that. So I've identified him because he's good. Then I'm going to spend some time with him and say, Dr. Duncan, can we go to lunch? I got a question I want to ask you. Come up with some bird brain question. But start feeling him out at a personal level. The real problem with mentoring, the reason I didn't give you the rest of the slides is I don't know how to initiate the process. one of the things, and this is going to sound funny, but it's one of the things they're trying in the United States in companies. Speed mentoring. Have you ever heard of speed dating? Speed dating is you go and you meet with somebody for 5 minutes, they ring a bell, and you go and meet with her for 5 minutes. They're thinking about mentoring, and can you pick up enough vibes from a person in that length of time? And do they feel culturally distant from me? And do I feel uncomfortable with them? You can pick that up pretty damn quickly. I do it for women all the time, so you ought to be able to pick it up too, with no problem at all. But I think you've got to take it upon yourself to do it. But I would, first of all, identify somebody that I felt was really a top-notch academician, really had a good research understanding. And then I would find out if I have any amenity or if I feel comfortable around the person. And the third thing, which is really important, is what I told my son. I said, I'd like to work with you. I'd like to take on a project with you. I've got these 3 ideas. What do you think? I'll do the first draft. Now, how many of us are going to say, no, I don't want you to do all that work and I don't want to see it? You're going to say, okay, fine. And all of a sudden, you're going to change in their mind as being not the average PhD student who is fed like a little bird. And that's what I would do. It's still a problem because, again, you're in a small faculty. You're going to be lucky if you can find somebody. I would say at a conference you might be able, it doesn't have to be at your own university, it can be somebody else. Okay, I mentor people all over the world. Okay? I have people that I've mentored for 10 or 12 years, I've never met them. But it's kind of fun, I enjoy it. And my last slide, which I didn't, I'll do it for those of you who were here last year. See all the stuff I didn't tell you, all these secrets? Come on.
Big diagram. Third slide.
No. See, this is really important stuff. We could have just still been talking about this crap. We've never gotten out of here. Welcome to a world where imagination is the source of value, Tom Peters. Success consists, I like this, going from failure to failure. That's kind of what your career is. That was Winston Churchill. And the most important thing is the last line. What's pay it forward mean? Now, some of you were here last year.
Yeah.
What does it mean? We could ask the driving expert over here and see what he came up with. What does pay it forward mean? It's a good movie and you need to see it.
Yeah, helping other people.
Giving it back.
To change back again.
What do I expect to get out of this?
Maybe.
You'll learn
Turn back.
something and you'll turn right around to your students and say, let me help you. Let me show you how to do that. Let me spend time with you.
They'll be ready.
When I do this for senior faculty members, what I'm telling them to do, it's your time to pay it forward. It's your time to help these people out. And that's the critical thing I'm trying to get across to people is, if our discipline's going to get better, you guys have to be better than I was. Or you're just going to be putting your piece of sand on the beach, and we're not going anywhere.
But don't limit yourself with 3 things on.
No. Anything else? Yep.
What you back to Hassan's question? As a supervisor,
Pardon
what
me?
do you expect me to do?
As a supervisor,
Yeah.
I expect you to care. If you have a good mentee, a good protege, if you care about them and say, I know what they're going to run into. Let me give you an example. When Miriam graduates, if she doesn't have any publications, it will be virtually impossible, first of all, for her to get a job. Second of all, for her to get a job at a good university. And third of all, to get a job at a PhD granting university. You have to have those publications and your level of jobs jump up like this. And I think that's something I've got to be able to communicate to her, make her understand. But you just have to care. The pay it forward thing is not a joke. Yeah, it was a movie, but it's what I'm talking about. Unless we really do believe and we really do reach out and hand somebody something and say, I don't expect anything back, here's your ice cream cone. Let me give you an example. My wife and I, my day wife, my night wife, that's right, yeah.
It is recorded.
No, I don't care. She was a professional boxer, so I have to be real careful. These are my day wives, she's my night wife. What we do for relaxation, and there is time for relaxation, is we make jewelry. Yeah, kind of strange looking stuff. And Miriam's the most envied PhD student because she gets free jewelry all the time. But she's also there on Saturday and Sunday, that's why she gets the free jewelry. But we make jewelry and so forth. And you say, well, how does this fit into pay it forward? We were out at dinner last night, a little crummy restaurant on Navi Beach. And there's this little, seemingly not mentally able young lady next to us and her mother eating dinner. And this little girl caught